The rescue mission. The stars above burned bright as the Crimson Wind, a small Earth scout ship, hovered at the edge of the Arden system. Captain Liam sat in the pilot's chair, studying the emergency signal blinking across the console. The signal wasn't human, it was Ardanian, a species known for their strict isolation and royal pride. The message was simple. Emperor downed. Hostile territory. Immediate aid required. Most would ignore it. Earth had little to do with the Ardanians. But Liam wasn't most. He had once served in peacekeeping missions across the fringe worlds. When someone called for help, he answered. He tapped the ship's communicator. Get the med kit. We're going in. Beside him, his crewmate Jonah raised an eyebrow. You sure? Ardanians don't like humans near their royals. Liam nodded. Doesn't matter. Someone's life is in danger. They broke through Ardanian atmosphere just before dawn. Smoke and fire marked the crash site. An Ardanian royal shuttle lay in ruins, surrounded by dense jungle. Strange beasts circled the wreck, their glowing eyes watching from the trees. Liam landed nearby and grabbed his plasma rifle. Stay here. If I'm not back in 10 minutes, lift off. He stepped into the burning foliage, heat licking his face. The air was thick with ash and the scent of scorched metal. Then he heard a groan, deep, heavy, and weak. Pushing past the debris, he found him, the Ardanian Emperor. He was a tall figure in regal armor, his scaled skin bruised and one leg pinned. Beneath a piece of broken hull, blood stained his side, and his breaths were short. Liam knelt beside him. You're going to be all right. I'm here to help. The Emperor opened one eye. A human. Why? No time to explain. I'm getting you out. Liam used his shoulder and all his strength to lift the wreckage. The metal groaned, but shifted enough for the Emperor to crawl free. The sound of growls came closer. Jungle predators were approaching. Liam pulled out a flare and fired it into the trees. A bright burst scared the beasts off, at least for now. He slung the Emperor's arm over his shoulder and began dragging him toward the ship. Your people won't like this, the Emperor said through clenched teeth. Let them complain after you're safe. They barely made it back to the Crimson Wind as the creatures closed in. Jonah opened the hatch and pulled them inside. The door sealed with a hiss, and the ship lifted into the air. Once in orbit, the Emperor was stabilized in the med bay. Liam stood nearby, breathing hard, wiping sweat from his brow. The Emperor looked at him, confused. You risked your life, for me. Liam simply nodded. It's what we do. There was a long pause. Then the Emperor said something unexpected. You will be honored, not just by words. What do you mean? Liam asked. The Emperor's eyes closed, and he whispered, You saved the life of the Ardanian crown. That means ... a bond must be formed. Liam frowned. A bond? Jonah gave him a sideways look. Liam, I think you just agreed to a royal marriage ... Liam blinked. What? The royal bond. Liam paced the narrow hallway of his ship, the Crimson Wind, still trying to understand what the Emperor had said. Marry the princess? He muttered. That can't be right. Jonah leaned against the wall, chewing on a ration bar. You saved the Emperor's life. Maybe this is some kind of old Ardanian custom. Liam shook his head. I didn't do it for reward or marriage. I just helped. Inside the med bay, the Emperor had recovered enough to sit upright. His voice was calm but firm when he called for Liam. Enter. Liam stepped in. The Emperor's golden eyes met his with a strange mix of respect and command. Owe you my life, the Emperor said. And that cannot go unanswered. You already said something about a bond, Liam replied carefully. What does that mean? The Emperor nodded. On Arden, saving a member of the royal family creates a life debt. And if the one saved is the emperor ... the debt is sealed only one way, through blood, through unity. Wait, Liam said, holding up a hand. You're saying I have to marry someone from your family? The emperor gave a slow, solemn nod. My daughter, the princess. Liam opened his mouth, then closed it, then opened it again. With all due respect ... that sounds crazy. The emperor didn't seem offended. To your kind, perhaps, but among us it is law. It also creates a strong bond between our people human and Ardanian. Jonah, who had followed in quietly, let out a low whistle. You're about to become space royalty, Liam. I didn't ask for that, Liam replied, voice tight. But the emperor wasn't finished. My daughter has already been informed. She is on her way. You will meet her. Liam's chest tightened. And if I say no? The emperor looked at him with a gaze like steel. It would be an insult of the highest kind. War has started over less. Jonah muttered. Great. So if you don't marry the princess, Earth might be at war with a planet full of warriors with plasma blades. Liam sighed and rubbed his face. This day just keeps getting better. 2 days later, the Ardanian royal ship arrived. Liam stood on the platform of the ship as the royal. Cruiser docked beside them. The ramp lowered, and out stepped the princess. She was tall and graceful, with deep purple skin that shimmered slightly in the light. Her hair was tied back in thick braids, and she wore flowing silver robes. But what caught Liam off guard were her eyes, curious, sharp, and proud. She didn't seem angry or cold. In fact, she looked amused. You must be the human, she said with a small smile. The one who saved my father. Liam gave a polite nod. Captain Liam, and you must be... I am Princess Lyra, she said, and by our law, I am now to be your bride. Liam cleared his throat. Right. About that, she raised a hand. I know. You didn't expect this. Neither did I, but it is law. He nodded slowly. Maybe we could talk, get to know each other? She tilted her head. You think this will be like a love story, don't you? He blinked. I don't know. She stepped closer, close enough that he could see. Faint silver lines painted across her cheeks. Let me be clear, Captain. I do not need you. I am a trained warrior. I lead troops. I could rule planets. He braced himself. But, she continued, I owe you the truth. You did something no Ardanian would expect. You risked yourself for my father. That means something even to me. Liam was quiet, unsure how to reply. Then she smiled, a little softer now. So let us begin not with wedding plans, but with honesty. What do you want? He looked into her sharp eyes and said, I want peace between our people. I want to understand what this is. And I want to be sure that if we do this, it's not just duty. It's real. Princess Lyra nodded once. A rare answer. Maybe there is more to you than I expected. And just like that, something shifted. For the first time, Liam wondered if this crazy tradition might turn into something else, something neither of them had seen coming. Asterisk. The trial of fire and ice. Liam stood at the edge of the Ardanian palace garden, watching the sky shift into evening. Twin moons rose above the silver mountains. Despite the beauty, his thoughts were a storm dot. He was now living inside the royal fortress of Arden. It had been 3 days since Princess Lyra arrived, and each day brought more attention, more pressure. Servants bowed when he walked by. Officials whispered behind closed doors. And Lyra, she was calm, but distant. That morning, she had spoken only a few words to him before vanishing into the training halls. Jonah, now staying in a guest wing, had tried to cheer him up. You saved an emperor, dude. Now you're in a sci-fi fairy tale. Relax, but it wasn't that simple. Liam wasn't used to politics, or royalty, or being watched like a hawk dot. Just as he turned to head back inside, he heard the soft footfalls. Behind him, Lyra. She was wearing light armor this time, not her usual robes. Her long hair was tied in a single braid, and a small energy blade hung from her belt. "I've been thinking," she said, stepping beside him. "About running away?" Liam joked weakly. She gave a slight smirk. "No, about testing you." "Testing?" "Our people will never accept this bond unless they see who you are. Not just a man who saved a life, but one who can stand beside a warrior princess." Liam crossed his arms. "So what? You want me to fight someone?" "Yes," she said. "Me." Liam blinked. "Wait, what?" "I've challenged you to a public trial. Combat non-lethal. It's a tradition. If you survive 3 rounds, the people will see you as worthy. If you don't, well, then this bond ends, and you walk away." He looked at her carefully. "You planned this just to give me a way out, didn't you?" Lyra's expression was unreadable. "No, I planned this to see if you were strong enough to walk in." The arena was ancient, carved into a crater surrounded by stone and fire torches. Thousands of Ardanian citizens gathered to watch. There, chants echoed through the rock walls. Liam stood at one end, wearing armor given to him by the Emperor's own smiths. It was light, strong, and unfamiliar. At the other end stood Lyra, tall and calm, blade in hand. A horn sounded. The crowd fell. Silent. Lyra moved first, fast like lightning. Her blade cut through the air, aiming low. Liam dodged, just barely. He had no weapon, just a shock baton. He parried her strike and jumped back. "You're really trying to win." She didn't answer, only lunged again, a flash of silver against the torchlight. They clashed once, twice, 3 times. Liam ducked, rolled, then swept her legs from under her. The crowd gasped as she hit the ground, but sprang back up in seconds. "You learn fast," she said. "You hit hard?" he replied, catching his breath. Round 1 ended when Liam managed to hold her blade down for 3 seconds. The crowd cheered. Round 2 was harder. She pushed him faster, tested his reflexes, and even used small bursts of her energy blade to scorch the ground near his feet. Liam barely managed to block her final strike before the timer ended. 2 rounds survived. But round 3 was different. Lyra stood still, blade lowered. Liam stepped closer, cautious. "What now?" She raised her eyes. "The last trial is not of strength, but of truth." Suddenly, all the lights dimmed. A holographic field surrounded them, projecting scenes from Liam's past, his time as a soldier, his failures, his fears, his regrets, all exposed for everyone to see. Lyra spoke softly. "This is the trial of ice. Only those who can face themselves can marry a royal." Liam's hands shook. The image of his fallen comrades, the time he failed to save a civilian family, the guilt, the pain, but he didn't turn away. He stood tall and said, "I see them. I remember them. I carry them." And the field faded. Lyra stepped forward, lowering her blade. The arena was silent. Then the Emperor stood from the royal box and raised one hand. "Worthy." The word echoed through the crowd. Lyra met Liam's eyes. "You passed." He nodded. "So what now?" She smiled, genuine this time. "Now we begin." Between duty and desire, the trial was over. Liam had survived. For the first time, he wasn't just seen as a strange outsider. Ardanian citizens greeted him in the palace, halls with polite nods. Warriors offered brief salutes. Even the Emperor looked at him now, not as a foreigner, but as something more. Still, Liam felt unsure. He stood by the palace garden wall again, staring at the mountains in the distance. A gentle breeze moved through the glowing leaves of the tall silver trees behind him. He heard the soft sound of footsteps. It was Princess Lyra. Again, she had changed from her battle armor into a simple robe of deep blue. Her eyes looked softer now, less guarded. "You haven't spoken much since the trial," she said, standing beside him. Liam shrugged. "Hard to talk when the whole planet thinks I'm a hero, or their future prince. Is that a bad thing?" she asked. He looked at her. "I didn't come here for any of this. I just saw someone in trouble and helped. I didn't expect to be tested, watched, or thrown into politics." Lyra nodded. "I didn't expect any of this either. I was supposed to marry a nobleman from House Tyrus, but the law changed everything." "Do you want to marry me?" he asked bluntly. She blinked, surprised at his honesty. "I don't know yet." Liam didn't respond. The silence between them stretched. Then Lyra spoke again. "But I know this, you didn't run. You fought. With honor. You faced your past in front of thousands. And when I looked into your eyes during the final test, I didn't see weakness. I saw someone real." Liam finally smiled a little. "That's the nicest thing you've said to me." She smirked. "Don't get used to it." They both chuckled. Then she added, more serious now, "There's a royal ceremony tomorrow. A formal step. It's not the wedding, but a bonding ritual. Our hands will be marked before the stars. It's tradition." Liam nodded. "And you're okay with this?" "I'm not forced," she said. "We're choosing this together. And if it fails, we walk away without war." He looked at her carefully. "What if I want it to work?" Her gaze locked on his. "Then we make it real." The next evening, the entire palace was lit with crystal lanterns. Music echoed through the hall's strange instruments with deep, haunting tones. Liam wore ceremonial armor made of dark woven metal. Lyra wore a long dress that shimmered with shifting star patterns. Her braid was decorated with silver bands, and her eyes were lined with starlight paint. They stood side by side under the central star dome, where the galaxy was projected above them, thousands of stars spinning slowly in a giant sphere. A priest stepped forward and held up a silver thread. "2 lives," the priest said, "one fate, bound by courage, not force, joined not by blood, but by choice." The thread was wrapped around their hands. It glowed faintly, bonding to their skin. The marks it left were soft silver spirals on their palms. Liam felt the warmth of her hand in his. He looked at her. She didn't look nervous anymore. "Now," the priest said, "you are bound. If your hearts stay true over the next 7 cycles, the bond becomes permanent. If not, the marks will fade and the stars will forget." The ceremony ended with quiet music and soft applause. Later, in the private gardens, Liam sat beside Lyra near a glowing pool. "I thought I'd feel trapped," he said. "And?" she asked, sipping a strange purple drink. "I feel curious, like maybe this isn't such a bad path after all." She looked at him sideways. "Curious is a good place to start." He leaned back on his arms. "So what do we do now?" She smiled. "We explore. We train. We learn each other's worlds. And maybe ... we fall." "Fall?" he asked. She touched his marked palm into something deeper. For the first time since he arrived, Liam didn't feel like an outsider. He felt chosen. Secrets in the shadows. Days that followed the bonding ritual were filled with new lessons and unexpected closeness. Liam and Lyra spent their mornings in training fields, sparring with wooden blades and trading stories. She taught him Ardanian battle forms. He showed her old Earth-style combat tricks, fast footwork, controlled breath, clever balance. Afternoons were different. Together, They walked through Arden's royal archives, where living crystals stored the planet's history. Lyra explained the rise of her people. Liam shared how humans had survived on a death world called Earth. Slowly, their curiosity became respect. Respect became ease. But peace, as always, never lasted long. One evening, Liam stood on the tower balcony of his guest chambers, watching the stars. The silver spiral on his hand glowed faintly under the light. He found himself thinking not about Earth, but about her. Behind him, the door opened with a soft hiss. Jonah walked in, eyes serious. "We have a problem," he said. Liam turned quickly. "What is it?" Jonah held up a small datapad. "I picked up something on the external. Sensors. Someone sent a message from the palace grounds, encrypted and off-world." Liam frowned. "That's not good." Jonah nodded. "It wasn't you, wasn't me. And I doubt the Emperor's people would be that sloppy. Whoever did this didn't want it traced." Liam glanced out the window. "You think someone's trying to sabotage the bond?" "Or worse," Jonah said, "use it." Later that night, Liam met Lyra in the quiet halls beneath the palace. She wore her soft armor again, her braid tied tight. Her eyes narrowed as he explained what Jonah had found. "There are spies in the palace," she said grimly. "Or traitors." "You suspect someone?" She hesitated. "House Tyrus, the same noble family I was meant to marry into. They lost power when you saved." "My father." Liam's brow furrowed. "So they're trying to undo it?" "Yes, and if they make it look like you were the traitor—" Her voice trailed off. "They could start a war," he finished. She nodded. "The bond between us is strong now, but still fragile in the eyes of the people. What do we do?" Liam asked. She stepped closer. "We find proof, quietly, and we show them who we really are." Liam gave a small smile. "You always speak like a soldier." "I am one," she replied with a soft grin. "But lately, I think I might be something else too." He raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" She didn't answer, just touched the glowing spiral on his hand, then walked away down the dark corridor. "Come on, we have a mystery to solve." The next night, they moved through the servant tunnels beneath the palace. Lyra knew every passage. Liam followed her closely, weapon in hand. They found the hidden transmitter behind a wall panel near the old kitchens. It was small Ardanian tech, shaped like a crystal thorn. It pulsed faintly with red light. Liam examined it carefully. Still warm. Someone used it less than an hour ago. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "There's only one wing close enough for this. The East Quarter. House Tyrus's guests stay there." A noise behind them made them freeze. Two armored figures stepped from the shadows. Their armor wasn't royal. It was matte black, with red lines across the chest. "Not guards. Assassins. Stay behind me," Liam whispered, raising his blade. Snorted. "I'm the princess, not a flower." The assassins attacked. The narrow tunnel turned into chaos. Sparks flew as blades clashed. Liam fought one attacker by the fast strike to the ribs. Lyra disarmed the other with a spinning sweep and knocked him into the wall. Both enemies fell unconscious, but a live Liam leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "Remind me never to spar with you when you're angry." Lyra smirked. "You'd lose." They brought the attackers to the Emperor's private chambers. The old ruler listened with a grave expression. The evidence was clear now. House Tyrus was behind the attempt to destroy the bond and start a conflict with Earth. The Emperor stood slowly and looked at them both. "You face danger not as strangers, but as one. This bond may have started from law, but it is now something greater." Liam met Lyra's eyes. She didn't look away. The bond had changed. They weren't just allies. They were becoming something much more. Closer than war the next morning, Arden's twin suns rose slowly over the city's silver towers. The palace was calm, but something in the air had shifted. Word had spread about the attack in the tunnels, about the discovery of traitors, and most of all, about Liam and Lyra fighting side by side. Where once there had been whispers, now there was silence and respect. In the center hall, Liam stood beside Princess Lyra as the Emperor announced before his council, "House Tyrus is stripped of honor and standing. Let this be known, no outsider, no human, plotted against Arden. The one we doubted stood firm where our own failed." The council bowed their heads. The tension that had gripped the palace began to break. Afterward, Lyra and Liam walked together in the high gardens. "You did well," she said quietly. "I nearly got sliced in a kitchen tunnel," Liam replied, chuckling. "But yeah, not bad." Lyra stopped walking. She turned to him slowly. "I was trained to be strong, to never show weakness. But the other night, when I thought you might get hurt, I felt something I hadn't expected." Liam raised an eyebrow. "Fear?" She nodded. "And something more. I didn't want to lose you. Not just because of politics or duty, but because ... I've grown to care." The words settled between them like falling stardust. Liam stepped closer. "So ... is this still just about the bond? Or is it about us now?" She smiled, a little shy for the first time. "Maybe both." They stood close, hand to hand, the silver spiral on their palms glowing softly. Then her tone shifted. "But the trials are not over." Liam blinked. "What now?" "My father has decided to host a public gathering, one final test. Not of combat, but of unity. He wants us to speak together before the people on the sky platform. A message of peace between Arden and Earth." Liam's face stiffened. "You want me to give a speech? In front of thousands?" She gave him a teasing grin. "I fought you in the arena. You can handle a few words." He groaned. "I'd rather fight assassins again." That evening, the sky platform floated above the city, an ancient ring of stone, open to the stars, surrounded by anti-gravity fields. Thousands of citizens gathered below, watching through light screens and air drones. The Emperor stood first, his voice booming with pride. "For years, we feared outsiders. We believed only Ardanians could protect the crown. But today, that belief has been rewritten by one act of bravery, and one growing bond between worlds." Then he turned to Liam and Lyra. "It is time." Lyra stepped forward. Her voice was clear and strong. "I once saw humans as dangerous, wild, but then I met one who risked everything to save a stranger. That stranger was my father. And that human became something more." She turned to Liam and gave a small nod. Liam swallowed, then stepped up. His heart pounded, but he spoke. "Back on Earth, we have a saying, you don't need to understand someone to help them. I didn't rescue your emperor because of politics. I did it because someone needed help. And now, I stand here beside someone I've come to trust, maybe even care about. And I want peace between our worlds, not through fear, but through friendship." The crowd was silent for a moment. Then the cheers began, first low, then rising, then thundering like a wave. Looked at Liam, surprised. "You really can speak," he smiled. "Told you I'd rather fight." That night, as the stars turned overhead, Liam stood alone in the quiet garden again. But this time, he wasn't unsure. Lyra appeared behind him and spoke softly. "My father says the people have accepted us. A bond can become permanent if we both agree." He looked at her, warmth in his chest. "I think I knew, back in the tunnels, that I didn't want to walk away." She stepped closer. "Then say it." "I want to stay," he said. "Not just for peace, for you." She touched his face gently. "Then tomorrow, we marry before the stars." Liam leaned in, and for the first time, their lips met light and warm and full of something real. It wasn't duty anymore. It was love. Crown shared by two worlds, the wedding day began before sunrise. Arden's twin suns cast golden light over the highest spire of the royal city. All across the capital, citizens gathered in plazas and gardens, watching the grand ceremony through light screens. For the first time in Arden's long history, a human was to be joined with Ardanian royalty, not by force, not by treaty, but by choice. Inside the royal dressing chamber, Liam stood before a mirror, adjusting the ceremonial armor made just for him. Its dark silver surface shimmered with the faint glow of Earth's blue and Arden's violet colors braided together. The spiral mark on his palm was now permanently etched into his skin by the sacred bonding ritual. Jonah walked in, grinning. "You're about to marry a warrior princess from another world. You sure you're ready?" Liam looked into the mirror. "No, but I want to be." Jonah laughed. "Good answer." Meanwhile, in another chamber across the palace, Lyra stood, before her own reflection. Her dress was simple but beautiful, flowing like liquid light, glowing gently as she moved. Her mother's crystal necklace hung at her throat. Around her eyes, the ceremonial starlight paint shimmered in soft silver lines. Her closest attendant adjusted her braid, then whispered, "Are you nervous, princess?" Lyra smiled faintly. "Not anymore." The ceremony took place on the stellar bridge, a floating platform that stretched between the twin spires of the palace. Above them, the sky was clear, filled with stars. Below, the entire city sparkled like starlight on glass. The emperor stood between them, holding the ancient crown of unity in both hands. He looked at them with pride. This union began in fire and danger, shaped by duty. But it survived because of courage, trust, and something rarer, hope. Today, we do not just marry two souls. We join two worlds. He placed a glowing ring of energy around both their hands. It pulsed once, sealing the vow. Then, the moment everyone waited for. "You may speak your vow," the emperor said. Lyra turned to Liam. Her voice was steady. "I was raised to believe strength meant standing alone. You showed me strength is also standing with someone. I vow to walk beside you from now until the stars fade." Liam took a breath, then looked at her. "I came from a world where we fight to survive. But you showed me how to fight for something better. I vow to protect what we build together and to never let go." The emperor raised his hand. "Then before the stars and all our people, you are joined." The crowd below erupted in cheers. Music filled the air, and glowing petals floated from the sky, scattered by silent drones. Lyra leaned close and whispered, "Now you really are royalty." Liam grinned. "Does this mean I get a crown?" She laughed. "No, but you get me." He kissed her again, this time with the entire galaxy watching. Later that night, the city was alive with celebration. Lights danced in the sky. Ships flew in elegant formation. Children wore glowing ribbons and laughed in the streets. But up in the palace garden, away from the noise, Liam and Lyra sat alone on a quiet bench. She rested her head on his shoulder. "Do you ever think about Earth?" she asked softly. "Sometimes," he said, "but it feels far away now, not forgotten. Just part of who I was." She reached over and took his hand. "And who are you now?" He thought for a moment. "I'm someone who didn't expect any of this, but who's glad it happened. I'm not just a soldier or a rescuer. I'm your partner, your match." She smiled and closed her eyes. "Then you've become what no warrior on Arden ever could." "What's that?" he asked. She whispered, "The one I trust." Above, the twin moons of Arden rose again, and for the first time, they shared their light with two hearts, one human. One Ardanian joined not by accident, but by love, forged through fire and bound beneath the stars.